Two of the first cases the Supreme Court took up involve your private property rights and could affect what happens if government suddenly decides it wants a piece of your land. One case involves some private property in Louisiana and the endangered dusky gopher frog, which exists only in Mississippi. The government's taking 1,500 acres of Edward Pointavant's timber-growing land in Louisiana because the endangered frog might have lived there many decades ago.
This frog is critically endangered, just about 100 of them left, and it used to be found across Louisiana, Alabama, and Mississippi.
But Pacific Legal Foundation lawyer Mark Miller argues this land grab will cost his client millions on a gamble the frog could maybe live there.
He'd be looking at $34 million in lost income, but that doesn't matter to the government.
It's over 1,500 acres, almost double the size of Central Park in New York.
Atkins says the land is perfect for the frogs. Pointavant says it needs a ton of money to prepare it.
The ponds there are in an ideal state, and when they're not in the ponds, they live in stump holes, and that land has the stump holes.
And it would take millions and millions and millions of dollars to recreate that habitat.
That's absolutely false.
Miller says the government shouldn't be able to just do this. It'd be like ripping up Manhattan skyscrapers because deer used to wander there when it was forest.
Let's declare Manhattan to be critical habitat for that deer, and then we'll just simply do whatever we got to do to protect that endangered deer in Manhattan.
The other case involves Pennsylvanian Rose Nick, whose 90-acre farm has been in her family for decades. But Scott Township has decided some stones on her land may be gravestones, and she has to fix up the area and leave it open to the public every day of the year, or be heavily fined, rather than compensated for this taking of her land. Attorney Christina Martin.
And if she didn't do that, they would fine her $300 to $600 per day.
Can you just imagine what it's like to have people every day on your property?
Nick wants a federal court to shoo the township away, but can't because of an old Supreme Court ruling that says she must first go through state courts before going federal when it comes to property rights. Martin says property rights should be just as important as your other constitutional rights.
And if you have no way of enforcing your rights, then your rights are sort of meaningless. It's just words on paper.
Paul Strand, CBN News, the Supreme Court.